Welcome everybody to Big League Careers on YouTube. Matt Yaloff here, host at MLB Network. The show, if you're seeing it for the first time, is all about learning what careers are available in baseball. If you love baseball, man, woman, girl, boy, child, it doesn't matter. There are careers in baseball that you may have never heard of or even knew they existed. If you can't play, like most of us can't, at the big league level, you can still follow your passion and be involved in baseball. And today, we're just honored to have Kyle Vena with us. He is, let me get this right, Kyle, the VP of Community Impact. Community Impact, give me or give the viewers a definition of what that means.
Sure. So for the Kansas City Royals, community impact really is everything that we do that's outwardly facing. How we can connect, serve, meet our fans, meet our community to really give back in a real meaningful way. And it's kind of a deep level that from the onset of our organization, you and Kauffman founded the organization not long after the Oakland Athletics left Kansas City. And when he did so in the mindset of not really being a baseball fan. He was someone who developed a deep passion for baseball and sport later in life after he owned the club. But he was approached by a bunch of civic leaders here in Kansas City to buy a franchise, to return Major League Baseball to Kansas City in the late 60s. And in doing so, he had the mindset of if Kansas City was going to be a Major League city, they needed a Major League Baseball team. And he truly believed that this organization was a civic asset as much as it was his asset. And so I'm very fortunate, our department is very fortunate to just go out in the community, continue to do good, to serve and partner where we can, but really just bring the Royals out, ever facing in youth fields, in schools, in churches, serve our community partners in a much more meaningful way. And so at its core, that's really what we're all about.
You started as an usher, and now you are a vice president. Tell me about the evolution of Kyle Vena.
I actually had one of my best friends growing up. His older sister was an usher at Kauffman Stadium. And so we always kind of had this pact that when we turned 16, that's a job we each wanted to do. And I was very fortunate to be hired. That was 1996. I got a job opening day, assigned, I don't remember what section I was assigned to, but I was assigned down the line, left field line, and wonderful umpire legend here in Kauffman Stadium. He's still here today, but Bob Stamps, as an umpire supervisor, was my very first boss. And on opening day 96, remember it like it was yesterday, we opened the gates. It was Slugger's first day as a mascot. I mean, there was all the pomp and circumstance of what was going on. And I actually was very fortunate that as the gates opened, Bob asked me to go move behind home plate and serve as the usher for the late, great Buck O'Neil. And so that's my career started really in the first 10 minutes, going from just getting a part-time seasonal day job to getting to work along one of the true legends of this game and the history of this game. And so that's kind of where it started. And I was very fortunate just to have that opportunity right out of the chute.
Explain to people how it works or how it worked for you to continue to elevate within the same organization. That is not always the case. You're a unicorn.
Yeah, I really am. And I appreciate you pointing that out, and I'll take that as a compliment. But no, I was actually fortunate that, to answer your question in the easiest way, it's all about timing. It's all about timing and relationships in sports. And someone told me very recently, a young woman who's looking to get in the game, a piece of advice she had received that was directly related to me, almost 3 decades ago. But it's kind of who you know that gets you in the door. It's what you know that keeps you in. And it was really just having the older sister, having a sponsor to become an usher. And then once I was in, it was all about timing and making relationships. And so I had the opportunity that same season with one of the Bat Boys got accepted to go study abroad in Spain. And he was going to be leaving in early June. And so the Royals needed somebody who could quickly fill in the next homestand to become one of the Bat Boys. And so I was approached with the opportunity A good family friend is a broadcaster, a legend also in the industry, and Bob Carpenter, the voice of the Nationals.
Yeah.
Good family friend. My dad called him, said they've asked him to be a clubhouse attendant. Should he do it? And Bob said, absolutely. You got to do it. And so I accepted that position, became the visiting team bat boy for the rest of the 96, 97, 98 season. I got a chance to, be in the visiting clubhouse, be in the dugout for Cal Ripken Jr.'s world record-breaking consecutive game. I got to pick up the bat for Paul Molitor with his 3,000th hit, share spaces with true heroes that I grew up watching. And I was just incredibly fortunate being 16, 17, 18 years old to have that opportunity. And then I guess it would be 99 season, I was able to move over to the home side and become the Royals ball boy, and worked for many years in the Royals clubhouse, 7 in fact. And while I was there, I was finishing school, continuing to develop a passion for wanting to work in the game. And that's the point in my career where I realized that I wanted to move to the front office and really do something for life.
Okay, so that's the how you get in. Now it's what you do that keeps you in. Explain that, because for young people, it's often confusing. I went to work, I've been there every day, why didn't I get promoted? What do you expect from young people that makes them stand out?
Sure. No, I think I expect really the patience and understanding to put in the time and to listen and learn everything that goes on throughout an organization. To not only have the passion of working for a team and having to move around like you talked about, Matt, but you also got to be prepared to pivot within the organization and maybe take on different roles. And, I like to, take your example of being a unicorn and staying with the team for 3 decades, but I was a part-time employee for 10 years. I actually went to law school because there wasn't opportunities when I got out of undergrad to have a full-time position within the organization. And so I had to seek counsel not only from people that I was working with within the organization, but people like the law school professor or the undergrad professor he was the one who talked me into law school. But I used relationships that I had formed within the organization, asking people what they did, understanding what different opportunities there were, to challenge myself to say, if I can't stay working for the Kansas City Royals as a 22-year-old, do I want to move to Cleveland and work for their organization, or Tampa, or look for other opportunities? Or are there other things I could do and stay within Kansas City that weren't necessarily working for the Royals, but were working in sport? And it was because I sought those opportunities and had those discussions about what was out there that opened the door to law school. And I received the advice from 3 different people that made me look at it. It wasn't even on my radar. Had I done that, I wouldn't have put in the time that 3 years later, the door had opened to work in the front office, and it all just kind of fell into place.
One of the things I hear a lot, questions I get from younger people, either in high school or college, is what should I major in if I want to work in pro sports, or more specifically, if I want to work in Major League Baseball? What should I major in?
I get that question a lot as well. I think anything you can do with the business lens will serve you well. Because something I'm sure we'll talk about is you can literally do anything in sport, or any type of career in sport, in it or around sport, and all of them have a business tie. If you can have a real strong business foundation, you can very much do anything that you want within the game of baseball or any other sport. But it also provides you the opportunity, like every college program will have electives. And so what I always give the piece of advice is to try to seek that business degree, take the courses that are required, but then as you get to the upper levels and you get to choose your electives or choose other courses within business, then try to tailor those course selections to something that aligns with your passions specific to what you'd like to do. The one thing that happens in working in sport is you can't really just select your path. You got to be able to, like we talked about earlier, you got to be able to pivot, you got to be able to be flexible. But still, that means you should still be seeking out classes and courses that you think will align with what you'd like to do to put yourself in the best position. So having myself, just going back to my example, in law school, we had the common law courses that we had to take. I had to take property, I had to take criminal law, constitutional law. But as I got to the electives, I took a lot of tax. I knew I wanted to work around players, work in the front office and contracts. So charitable giving I took business planning, I took like the taxation, securities transactions, stuff that I thought would be relevant to player transactions. And so that's just the way I chose my classes. And it served me well. Admittedly, again, it doesn't always work out that way, but it did serve me well. And I just try to encourage any, kind of student or student athlete to say, hey, just continue to follow your passions, but get your foundation set and then build around that with things that really align with what you'd like to do.
Internships. 30 something years ago, it changed the course of my career, the internship that I did in television. How important today in 2022 is coming out of college with an undergraduate degree and being able to say, hey, I interned for the Pacers, or I interned in the athletic department at whatever university or college. How much of an impact does that have on someone getting a break?
Huge. It's almost becoming necessary. I mean, I was a 10-year part-time employee with a law degree, and my first full-time job, or my first job in the front office, was an internship. It's not as much as opportunity as there is, but every internship gives you that kind of glimpse. So there's actually a huge benefit in being an intern, right? Because you don't get your specific set of duties that you got to go execute and deliver on behalf of the organization. You're actually given an opportunity to where everybody in the department knows you're there to learn. And so, being there early, being there to work hard, having that open mind and asking those questions and learning those lessons really puts you in a situation where you can help a lot of different people in an intern role. So it's actually an exciting job.
Yes.
But to be able to do it and have that mindset of, I would love to work here. I would love to take this internship full time, but I'm also prepared that it doesn't work out that way. And I got to be prepared to maybe do multiple internships, but don't lose sight of, now you've got yourself in a situation where you can have those conversations every day with people in the industry. You can ask the right questions, you can learn their stories, and every day can be a learning experience for you. That, I think, is the key to taking the internship, is look at it as a blessing and what you can do to turn it into, future plans for yourself.
I want you in one sentence to tell the folks watching a key, the key, a key, or something to put in their head and never forget it as they create their own path. What would it be?
I would use, quote, the very wonderful leader we have in our organization in Dayton Moore, that all our success is tied together. I think it's important that if you can remember that internally, externally, different departments, players, coaches, front office, if everybody is pulling the rope in the same direction and has that mindset that together we are stronger, it just makes organizational harmony better, and it makes everything more successful.
Kyle, we really appreciate the time and the information, and just all the best to you.
Thank you, Matt.